Why are people protesting, and how is that protest looking now?
Good afternoon, Zinga. Yes, there have been people who have been protesting outside Gallagher Estate ahead of the Jobs Summit, which is due to start in just under an hour. And basically what they said is that they believe that those who are in there at the summit, who will be attending the summit, do not represent the interests of the unemployed. Now, earlier when I spoke to you, we had a lot more people. We had a lot more people protesting, singing outside. But now it looks like the numbers have somewhat dwindled and there are less people outside. The organizers from the Group Assembly of the Unemployed are telling us that they are not sure if SAFTU, Labour Federation SAFTU, will be joining them. However, earlier when I spoke to them, they had said that they do expect them to come and join them and picket and protest against this job summit that does not represent them or the needs, and that will not help with regards to reducing unemployment, alleviating inequality, as well as poverty. But right now, I am joined by Pinky Langa, who came all the way from Witbank, and she's unemployed. She's one of the unemployed youth from Witbank, who's also a member of the Group Assembly of the Unemployed. She's going to speak to us about her experience as an unemployed youth in South Africa and living in a mining community. Thank you so much for speaking to us, Pinky. But first, let me ask you this question. Thank you for speaking to us. First, what has brought you here? Why are you here, and why are you protesting against this job summit that seems to promise employment for many South Africans?
Okay, so number one, I came here to represent, the most vulnerable group in South Africa, which is black women who are unemployed. So that's the main reason I'm here, to make sure that, our voice is heard, to say, yes, they are inside, they'll be talking about this job summit, they'll be talking about jobs, but are these jobs sustainable jobs? Or are these jobs just jobs like your EPWP, your CPWP, and so forth? So we also want to say we want a living wage. We don't want to earn 3.5. That's not enough, because, we are black people, and, in our families at times, we are living like maybe 5 or 6. So what are we going to do with 3.5? So we are here to advocate, to say, no, Mr. Ramaphosa, think about this. Yes, we had him saying he was calling more investors to come in South Africa and invest. But then we have seen that there's a lot of money, that has been sent offshores. There's been tax avoidance, there's been this capital flights and so forth. So this actually raises a concern to us. So as a woman coming from a mining affected community, whereby most people are unemployed, and you'd find that most of the young girls are nowadays selling their bodies just for survival, and you find that men are abusing drugs, and the level of gender-based violence is sky high, and understanding that in South Africa, it's one of the countries which is like the level of inequality. It's so crazy. So one reason we are here, it is to make sure that, Mr. Ramaphosa and those who are inside, because we know that the people who are inside are employed, so they won't be talking to the interest of us, especially black women. So our voices won't be represented in there. So that is why we are out here to say, we are here and we are watching you.
So what I hear you say is that you're calling for permanent jobs and not those temporary positions that are provided by the EPW projects. But also, coming from a mining community, you would expect people to have job opportunities and employment. Is that not the case in Witbank?
That is not the case. I was born in Witbank, and I've never worked for a mining company. And it's not that I've never tried to apply back then before I became an activist. I did try to find employment in the mining sector, but with no luck. So what we have observed is mining companies don't take local people, but they'd rather invest on cheap labor. They'd rather take people who are not coming from the mining affected communities, and then those people will come. That is why you'd find let's take for Witbank instance. Now we are having a number of informal settlements because these mining companies are bringing people outside. We are not xenophobic or Afrophobic, These are our brothers. We understand. But at times, that causes capitalism will always, it's so brutal, and it causes conflicts amongst ourselves, because at times we are saying, yeah, they are bringing these people to take our jobs, because we believe that we are affected by the mining operations. our water is contaminated, the level of dust, our houses are cracking and so forth. So what we actually saying is that these mining companies are not for us. Ramaphosa is also not for us as black people. Yesterday, we saw on the internet that Gwede Mantashe is saying he will continue with the mining in Xolobeni, the mining projects in Xolobeni. What does that tell you? It tells that people's rights are not respected because the community in Xolobeni is actually resisting mining. And we understand that, the lifespan of mining ends at a certain place. At times it can be like 25 years or so forth. So what's going to happen to the community of Xolobeni after 25 years if, let's say, the mining rights or the mining lifespan of the Australian mining company is 25 years? What's going to happen? Because their land will be degraded, they won't be having, their water will be contaminated and so forth. So how are they going to live going forward after the mine has left?
Thank you so much for speaking to us. There you have it, the matter of Xolobeni coming back and people saying that they don't believe that mining is actually promises the economic development that it actually does, that our leaders are saying, purporting that it does. We heard Pinky say calling for a living wage and also calling for permanent employment. These are the calls and the desires of the ordinary South Africans. But for now, it's back to you in studio.
Thanks, Mbalenhle Mthethwa, coming to us live there from outside that job summit. Let's stay on that and go over to